All right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with yet another mock draft, our third of the NFL offseason, so let's just get right into it. With the second-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they select J.K. Dobbins, running back from the Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins is an absolute stud. This guy is literally the next big thing at the running back position for the NFL, no matter where he goes.
No, seriously. And you could say that with many running backs in this upcoming class. It's just how stacked it is, man.
Seriously.
Now, the decision here was between either Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin or J.K. Dobbins. We ultimately went with J.K. Dobbins because, I mean, any of the top three backs, which in my opinion are DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and J.K. Dobbins, any of them could be off the board in the first round, or any of them could be off the board at 49 at our pick, or who knows, maybe they still are at our pick at 49. Who knows, man? But we're going to say J.K. Dobbins in the second round. We addressed running back here. James Conner's in his final year of his contract, and unfortunately, he can't stay healthy. Benny Snell is just, for now, known as a power back. No matter how high you may be on him, he is just primarily a power back for us right now.
Right.
And Jalen Samuels is just a backup. He's a good backup, but he's just a backup. We need a dependable, young stud at running back, and that is J.K. Dobbins. And, I mean, just look at the game against what team was it? Was it Clemson? Or was it? I believe it was Clemson, right?
In a playoff game?
Yeah, the playoff game when he got injured and then came back right into the game.
Yeah, it was Clemson.
Yeah, man, you can just see the heart and the determination and the durability and the toughness, mentally and physically, of J.K. Dobbins, man. And just imagine that in the black and gold, man. That just speaks Pittsburgh Steelers right there. That reminds me a lot of Jerome Bettis' mentality, man. Because no matter how beat up he was, no matter how tired he was, man, he still went out there and balled, tried to help his team win, man. That just speaks Pittsburgh Steelers right there, man.
It really does.
And, man, I mean, he's just explosive. He's got speed. He's got breakaway speed. He's a power back, man, who, like I said, has speed to him. This dude is just a phenomenal fucking running back. I think he could be one of the better backs out of this entire draft class. Like, when we're talking, like, 5 years from now, and when we look back at the 2020 running back class, I can see J.K. Dobbins possibly being the number one back right there. I think that's just how damn good he is, man. And he has the ability to expand as a receiving back as well, which he has shown at the Ohio State. Only he can get better with us, which is exciting to think about.
Absolutely. You know, Dobbins, he has a lot of comparisons of Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, but I feel like he can reach to a point where he can be literally the next Alvin Kamara, in my honest opinion.
Damn.
He's that good. He's that good. He's that explosive. He's that great. He's so good.
He can be that great, man. So J.K. Dobbins in the second round. We address running back. We get our dependable starting running back. Maybe not starting immediately, which would be a blessing in disguise for him, but because he can split reps with Connor and Snell and Samuels and shit. Maybe we get a running back committee going in Pittsburgh, which I would absolutely love, especially with Ben coming back.
Right.
Take some pressure off him. Get a running back by committee going with the 4 running back studs right there. Like we should have done last year, and then we bring in J.K. Dobbins to strengthen that up. Holy fucking shit.
Goddamn. You're looking at a hell of a running game.
Absolutely, man. So let us know what you guys think about J.K. Dobbins in the second round to address running back, man. Now in the third round comp, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Thaddeus Moss, tight end out of LSU. We finally get our tight end, and Thaddeus Moss is one of our more favorite tight ends in this tight end class, man. There's actually a lot of really good tight ends, man. It's actually more stacked than I thought it was. But Thaddeus Moss sticks out more to us than some other guys I would, list. Of course, there's Adam Trotman, Bryson Hopkins, there's Hunter Bryant, there's Harrison Bryant. So there's guys that stick out, but I think Thaddeus Moss sticks out more so than most of them, I'd say. I think the only one that sticks out more so than Moss is probably Adam Trotman. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Right.
And I say that because, of course, we all know he is the son of Randy Moss, arguably one of the best receivers of all time. And that right there could influence the Steelers to go target him because he has NFL bloodlines right there. But also, he is very productive. Now, if you look at his college stats, it could tell you otherwise. But if you really think about it, I mean, fucking Joe Burrow had Justin Jefferson. He had Jamar Chase. He had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he had targets all over the place. Of course, Moss was going to get the short end of the stick. But that benefited the LSU offense a little more because Moss was still efficient even if he wasn't getting the ball. He was efficient in the run block and the pass block, which is, of course, something we would love to have in a tight end.
Right, because the Steelers love those types of tight ends.
Of course. He can get down the field and everything and get them blocks for the receivers, but he can get down the field and make the big catches. And, of course, in the championship game, he had 2 big touchdowns. So you can see he can be productive when he gets the ball, man. Thaddeus Moss has a lot of tools to be a great tight end, man. Now, he's not the tallest tight end. He is not a tight end that the Steelers would ideally look at in terms of measurables. But that bloodline could really influence the Steelers to target him because the Steelers love those NFL bloodline guys. Of course, look at T.J. Watt. Of course, he had an NFL bloodline, and you see how he's panned out.
Absolutely.
Of course, you have Cameron Hayward. He had an NFL bloodline. You have, let's see who else. I'm trying to think of who. Terrell Edmonds, of course, the NFL bloodline right there. So they love those NFL bloodline guys. And Thaddeus Moss is definitely one of the more NFL bloodline guys coming into this year's draft class. And tight end being one of our biggest needs, Moss could be on our radar.
Absolutely.
And I would love Moss in the black and gold, man. He would fit perfectly as a tight end, man. He'd be our it depends what we do with Vance McDonald. He could be a number 1 tight end day 1. But again, it all depends if we keep Vance McDonald, but still, we got to address tight end, and we address it here with Thaddeus Moss, man.
Absolutely. If we do keep Vance, which I'm leaning more to thinking now, because I think that's what the Steelers are going to do, if we do get Thaddeus Moss, that's just great for him because he doesn't have to start right away.
Right.
He doesn't have to be, thrown onto the field right away.
Right.
You don't have to force him doing all this other shit as a rookie. You can have him, develop and learn the playbook and everything. And then when Vance either gets injured or cut, that will be his time.
Right.
So I think it'd be perfect.
Right. So either way you look at it, Moss could definitely be a starting tight end eventually for the Steelers if we do select him, man. But, I mean, he has the tools and he has the makings to potentially be a Steelers selection, man. So let's know what you guys think about Moss in the black and gold, man. Now, with the 4th-round pick, the first 4th-round pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Bryan Edwards, wide receiver out of South Carolina. In my opinion, the most underrated wide receiver in this entire draft class. I mean, I don't see anyone talking about him. He's flying under the radar a lot, and that's fucking criminal. This dude is a beast. This dude has desired wide receiver height. He's not necessarily the fastest receiver, but, man, he has incredible hands, decent route running ability. I mean,
and his yards after the catch are insane.
Absolutely. And he's a potential deep threat, man, because, in some cases, he reminds me of what Martavis Bryant would apply to us when he would be our deep threat. But he also has the mold of, maybe an Amari Cooper-esque, I guess.
Really?
With better hands. Honestly, when I look at him and I think of his film, I'm imagining his film right now, he's built like a tight end, but, man, he can play wide receiver big time, man.
Right.
And his hands are fucking insane. Absolutely strong and dependable. It's nuts. This dude is flying under the radar a lot, and I don't know why.
I mean, with this stacked wide receiver class, that's going to happen to a lot of receivers, but this guy's a stud. He's got a lot of potential to be, at first, a deep threat. And like you said, a Martavis Bryant-like type of deep threat.
Right.
But can end up building his way up the depth chart at the wide receiver position. And the great thing about him is he's not going to start immediately. He'll be nothing but depth. But with our new wide receiver coach, Ike Hilliard, I think, is that him?
Yeah.
Ike Hilliard?
Yeah.
He'll be groomed under him because, Ike Hilliard was the wide receiver coach for the Redskins, and he groomed a lot of young wide receivers for the Redskins. And look at some of the guys, Jamison Crowder had his best season with the Jets. Nothing spectacular, but he was productive. You look at Terry McLaurin, he had a hell of a rookie year.
Absolutely.
You look at Deshaun Jackson when he first came into Washington,
For sure.
Just to name a few, this could really be one of his first true tests as a Steelers wide receiver coach for Bryan Edwards, and he could, if he's developed well, he could end up being a complete stud for the Steelers.
Absolutely, man. He could be one of those secret weapons that you have in the back of your arsenal, man, and we can bring him out, and he could be one of the nice weapons for Ben, man. And he's a tall weapon for Ben, which we all know Ben loves. So that right there would be an instant great pick. But Bryan Edwards is very underrated. I don't know why he's flying under the radar, but if that's the case and he falls to us, that's our benefit. So,
right.
Yeah, man.
Now with our second fourth-round pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Darrell Williams, interior offensive lineman out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, man. So this is the pick would be initially depth for the offensive line, of course, because we all know our offensive line is getting up there with age. Darrell Williams, man, he can play. He's an interior offensive lineman, which means he can play guard and center. He's versatile, so we all know the Steelers love them versatile offensive linemen, especially a guy like Darrell Williams who can pretty much, depending if we bring him back or not, he could play that B.J. Finney role initially, and then maybe work his way up and develop enough to be a guard or center. He could come in and in relievance of DeCastro, or if we keep Foster, maybe
Right.
Put him at left guard or whatever. Pouncey, I don't know how severe his injury is. I know, unfortunately, he ended the season on an injury note. We have not checked on that. We don't know how severe it is. So
I don't think there's been an update, but
hopefully it's
that
not
injury is a concern.
Right, but still, nonetheless, man, he can come in and fill in for those older guys that need a break or whatever, or like I said, just develop enough to be a potential starter in the interior offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. I would not sleep on him potentially starting in the near future. And here's something that you actually have to think about. In 2 years, Ben's contract's going to be done, and more likely that's when he's going to retire. That's when he's going to hang it up. Now, remember when Pouncey said in an interview on countless occasions, he said, when Ben goes, I go. So you're looking at Ben, when he retires, Pouncey's going to retire as well. I mean, we're going to have to look at a quarterback and a center. Now, you could possibly fill that center role with Darrell Williams because he's played guard, but in Mississippi State, he's played better as a center. And this pick would be nothing but depth at first. But if he's developed well by Sean Sarrett, he could very well slide into that center role and replace Pouncey if he were to retire.
Absolutely.
So it's something to look at, something to think about. And Darrell Williams, he's not a bad offensive lineman whatsoever.
No.
He'd be great depth. Youth, nothing but depth, but then in the near future, he could start.
Absolutely, and that's a great way to look at it. And if you really want to strengthen up the interior offensive line a little more, maybe we resign Matt Fielder, and we proposed this in our first mock. Resign Matt Fielder, switch him to left guard, have Chuck Okorafor and Zach Banner fight for the starting right tackle gig, and maybe one of them can be the right tackle and be dependable enough right there at right tackle.
Right.
And then, like you said, when Pouncey, whenever he retires or whatever, Darrell Williams comes in as the center there. So,
But Darrell Williams would be nothing but depth. I would not sleep on him potentially starting in the future.
Nah.
I wouldn't. Now, with the 6th-round pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Hawkins, safety out of California. Pretty much, at first, nothing but depth, but he does have some explosiveness to him.
yeah.
He'd be nothing but a depth guy and a very nice special teamer, but I would not sleep on him potentially, if Edmonds doesn't turn out or if he doesn't produce anything. I would not sleep on Hawkins, if he's developed well, which we really rarely do. I would not sleep on him potentially coming in if he were to replace Edmonds, and I would not say be explosive or be great, but be more productive than Edmonds when it comes to turnovers.
Right, depending if Edmonds doesn't, break out like we all hope he does.
Right.
But yeah, man, Hawkins would just be depth at safety. We all know we need depth at safety. Our safety position, outside of the starters, is not really that, stacked or dependable, I'd say, because, all we got is Jordan Dangerfield, Marcus Allen, but he's probably not going to make the roster next year because his development hasn't really been too consistent or steady. So we have no depth at safety. So that's pretty much what this
Sean
would be.
Davis is on his way out.
Right.
We're not going to resign him.
No,
So
so
our depth of safety is very, very slim.
it's very limited. So that's what we would bring Hawkins in for, man.
Right.
And then the 7th round to close out the mock guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ladarius Hamilton, defensive end out of North Texas. That's just depth on the defensive line, man, pretty much. Our depth in our offensive line, or defensive line, is aging right there. So we add some youth there on our defensive line right there. So that's pretty much what that would be. He can back up to it, or Hayward, or you guys already get that idea.
Absolutely.
So anyway, guys, that is our third mock draft. Let us know you guys' thoughts down below, man. And of course, keep an eye out for more mock drafts coming your way. See you guys in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Peace.